The information online when it comes to teaching abroad or teaching English as a foreign language can be pretty overwhelming. Now, I've taught in several countries around the world. I've taught in France, I taught a couple of years in Spain, a few years in Brazil, South Africa, the United States, here in Canada, and I'm also from Ireland, where I also taught for a number of years. And indeed, I've worked with a number of people from all corners of the globe. So in this video, I'm going to try and distill my own experience and indeed the experience of others who I've spoken to at length about this subject to try and help give you a framework to decide what could be best for you. So to try and answer that question, I'm going to analyze it from 4 perspectives. First and foremost, let's think about what is the right country for you. Then we'll move on and we'll talk about choosing the right educational program or teacher training program for you. I'll also then talk about why it's crucial to get TEFL certified if indeed you do choose to go abroad. And then we'll think about what could be some of the next steps, and we'll talk a little bit about the digital nomad life. Hi, my name's Fergus Fadden and welcome to my channel. Here you're going to find videos about teaching English as a foreign language, that's TEFL, a particular course called CELTA, and indeed you're going to get videos all about the life of a digital nomad. So that's people who travel around the world and work in various different locations. I love exploring new cultures, and teaching English and training new teachers has been a passion of mine for almost 2 decades now. It's been an incredibly rewarding journey for me, and in this video I'm gonna delve into the question of how indeed you can choose the best course of action for you when it comes to teaching and working abroad. So to the first question, really maybe one of the biggest questions, choosing that country where you're going to work and teach. Well, you really got to think about things like language. Are you up for learning the language of the country that you're gonna go to? Or are you looking for a country where English or your own native language is the dominant language? Now, in my own experience, I went to France, I went to Spain, and I went to Brazil, and I learned French, Spanish, and Portuguese. I took a kind of blended approach. I was somewhat studious, although I will admit I wasn't the greatest student of all time, but I really took this immersive approach. I would get out and about. I tried not to only focus on searching out other Irish people or other native speakers of English to make friends with, because I really just wanted to soak up that culture as much as possible and immerse myself in the language. And that worked out really well for me, because in short order, it really took me about 3 to 6 months to become quite proficient in any of those 3 languages, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. This in turn had a great knock-on effect for me in a number of ways. First of all, it helped a lot for me to empathize with my students, to engage with them, to build rapport with them, because I could really, understand what they were going through, because I went through exactly the same thing as a language learner. So as a teacher of English, it's a great experience to put yourself through learning another language. It also really helped me settle into the country that I was living in, because, going to a cafe in France, going to a restaurant in Spain, going to a diner in Brazil, it was always a much better experience when I was able to have a few words in their own language. Usually the locals would get a little bit of a kick or a laugh out of me with my bad accent or my broken Spanish or my strange grammar. And that in turn then would have a knock-on effect from me, because I would learn from them what I should have said. It would help me just enjoy my day a little better, and it really helped me, as I said, settle into the country and enjoy life much more. Other aspects when it comes to choosing the country that you're going to live in, you want to think about things such as cost of living and job availability. So if you think about, there are some countries in Asia, for example. So countries that come to mind would be like Vietnam or Thailand, where the cost of living could be quite low, comparatively speaking, to somewhere like the United States or the United Kingdom. And job availability might be quite high, whereas the wages you earn might not be the highest. Whereas on the other hand, you might think about a country like Japan, where the cost of living is quite high, but maybe you're quite attracted to aspects of the culture there. Now, as I say, in my own case, I went to countries like France, Spain, and Brazil. And each of those countries had different parameters, shall we say, on those costs of living and salary expectations. And in each case, I was quite comfortable with them. I could earn enough money to pay my rent, buy some groceries, save a little bit of money actually as well, and lead what to me felt like a pretty good life. As I mentioned as well, thinking about job availability is a big factor. The first country I went to, France, I had a very difficult time, in fact, finding work. It was only through a lead I was given by a friend of mine that I ended up working in a French high school as an English assistant, and that's actually what led to me getting into the world of TEFL. But before going to the other countries like Spain, Brazil, here in Canada, I had always done some research around a job. I was able to match that up with my qualifications, particularly in going to Brazil. I had a Delta at the time, so I was quite focused on becoming a CELTA teacher trainer. CELTA is a very famous TEFL course. And so this was something that was really important to me going to Brazil. So there was a really good opportunity there for me when it came to my career trajectory. Of course, when it comes to finding a job, there is often that factor of a visa. Some countries, in fact, most countries will require you to have a visa. Now, in the first couple of countries I went to, France and Spain, as I'm Irish, I have a European Union passport, so I didn't need a visa to travel within Europe, as my Irish passport allowed me to move around and work freely within Europe. However, if you're from outside of Europe and you're looking to come to Europe, it's very much worth your while checking out what the visa situation is. Now, I faced this visa scenario when I went to Brazil. It was quite a long, arduous, and bureaucratic process to get my visa situation sorted out in Brazil, and indeed here in Canada as well. I had to apply for a work permit first of all, and then permanent residency, and actually this year I became a Canadian citizen. So you want to ask yourself the question, is it even possible for you, given your type of work that you're going after, given your background, for you to get that visa? Is it possible for you to find a job that would maybe sponsor you a visa? So certainly check out what is the visa situation when it comes to looking for work in that country that you're looking to move to. When it comes to being a digital nomad, many countries allow you to enter a country temporarily for 3 to 6 months, usually 2-3 month short-term visas, and it won't be much of an issue. However, I still highly recommend you to do your research and check if you can enter the country of your destination freely and easily, and you won't have any problems with the authorities while you're living and working as a digital nomad in that country. So some of the really popular countries that come to mind in Asia would be, as I mentioned, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, and South Korea. Some of those countries, particularly I'm thinking of South Korea, in fact, often have schools that will offer you a contract where they will pay for a round-trip airfare flight for you from anywhere in the world, and they'll usually either give you a contribution or in fact a fully paid for apartment, depending on the contract. Now, I'm not saying every single job has this on offer, but it's worth looking into. Now, you might not find something like this in a country like Japan, but the possibilities for enjoying life and experiencing immense culture are almost endless in a country like Japan. Vietnam and Thailand, as I mentioned, have those very low costs of living, and a lot of people around the world have excellent experiences living in those countries. When it comes to Latin America, personally, I have a soft spot in my heart for this region of the world, as I love the languages, Spanish and Portuguese. I've traveled extensively to countries like Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, and indeed, as I mentioned, I lived for 4 years in Brazil. Now, there are some concerns in some of these countries. For some people, you really got to think about what you are comfortable with. There are some safety concerns. However, I will say in 4 years living in Brazil, I never experienced anything negative there. And the people in Brazil, some of my favorite people I've ever met in my life, from every strata of society, incredibly friendly, incredibly outgoing, and full of the joys of life. So I highly, highly recommend Brazil. However, as I say, do your research, check the city that you want to spend some time in, see what things are important to you before you go there, and see what the situation is like on the ground. When it comes to Europe, I'm from that region of the world, and of course, I absolutely love it. It's so diverse, and by diverse, I mean each country has a extremely different culture, and in fact within each country there are many different cultures. My own Irish culture, north, south, east and west, are quite different, and even within those regions there's so many differences and such an abundance of tradition and culture and food and accents to explore. The same is true for, as we call it in Ireland, the continent. So that would be all the countries on continental Europe. From each one to the next, you can experience some beautiful food, music, language, etc., etc., etc. Now, when it comes to Europe, if you're from outside of Europe, there could be visa restrictions, and the cost of living tends to be a little bit higher. However, salaries are often quite commensurate with the cost of living, so you can have a pretty good life if you can manage to secure work and working situation that is amenable to your lifestyle. So the next item that I want to talk about are the various teaching programs out there that try to attract people from foreign countries. So I'm going to focus in on a couple right from the get-go, and I'm thinking of two. First one I'm thinking of is EPIK, E-P-I-K, and that's run by the government of South Korea. And another one is the JET program, the J-E from Japan. These programs often offer stable positions with quite good benefits. You can also search the various private language schools, reach out to them and see what they are offering. Often these private language schools will help you with the paperwork for such programs as EPIK and JET. Beyond these government programs, there are many volunteering positions. Now, as the name suggests, they're probably not going to be very financially rewarding. However, they're going to be rewarding to you in a lot of other ways. Just from a human perspective, exposure to the culture, living in another country. Often you will be given some kind of accommodation and maybe some kind of stipend payment to support you while you're living there. But in general, don't expect a lot when it comes to financial conditions for volunteer programs. Moving on from teaching programs, let's talk about what's the right TEFL certification if indeed you are looking to go and teach English as a foreign language. First, you should know that it is often actually a requirement for many of the jobs that you will be applying for. One of the courses that I've taught for many years, the CELTA from Cambridge University, is probably one of the most widely recognized courses in the world. However, I do highly recommend another course called the ITA, International TEFL Academy's TEFL Certification. You can find a link down in the description below where you can be taken to their website and find out all about signing up for not only their TEFL certification course, but their job placement service, which is second to none in my opinion. And even if you're taking CELTA, I'd still recommend you to head on over to that link in the description below, because it'll really help you finding that job after you've taken CELTA. Beyond just having that certificate or piece of paper that says you're TEFL qualified or CELTA qualified, there are real tangible benefits. You will be going into classrooms equipped to teach effective lessons. You know, I'll be open with you. I actually started teaching before I had any kind of certification. And while the majority of that experience was quite a positive one for me, I did have some terrible lessons and I didn't really understand why. I couldn't really put my finger on what didn't or did go well in them. Whereas when I became qualified, I now had strategies. I now had techniques, methods, approaches that I could apply and build effective lessons. And I had a much more positive experience of teaching English as a foreign language. Another big advantage of taking a TEFL course, and especially this is a big one for those who are thinking along the lines of becoming a digital nomad, is that a lot of these courses, just like the International TEFL Academy's TEFL course, it's offered online. So this offers you a lot of flexibility where you take it. Maybe you want to just take it wherever you're based in the world before you go abroad, or you could take it while you're on the move, or you could take it in your destination countries. The online courses, while it may not be for everybody, is a great flexible option. So head on down to the link below. I really recommend that 170-hour TEFL course offered by ITA. It's really worth checking out before you go abroad to teach English. And the last point I'm going to zero in on in this video is the whole idea of the lifestyle of the digital nomad. So what is that? Well, simply put, a digital nomad is somebody who uses technology to work remotely while traveling. Now, the focus of this channel has been teaching English as a foreign language, and indeed there is a multitude of companies offering English lessons online. In fact, you can even set up your own freelance business. I offer coaching on that, how you can set up your own business to teach online, which could be a great opportunity while you're traveling. Head on down to the description below to book a call with me if that's something that you're interested in talking more about. And also, if your area of expertise or your area of focus is not teaching English, you could still have the opportunity. I know people who are engineers, I know some lawyers, I know some people who work in various corporate roles who are able to travel, take their computer, make sure that they have a decent setup, put it in their backpack and travel off to the country where they would like to spend a month, 2 months, 3 months, a week, a day, whatever it may be, and continue working. When it comes to the digital nomad life, it's very important to maintain a routine. It could be very easy to fall into, oh, I'm in this beautiful country, I'll just go to the beach and I'll have a beer and I'll hang out, and your work will suffer. And you know what could happen when your work suffers. So it's really important to set yourself up with a routine, find yourself a good place to live, follow a work schedule, do that 9 to 5 if you can, or whatever works for you, so that you can have the most positive experience while you're living and working abroad. Time management for this is absolutely key. Make sure to plan effectively when you're traveling, when you're working, so that the two don't really overlap. You don't want to be stuck in an airport trying to shoot off a bunch of emails, or especially not teach a English class. It's not going to look very professional. And in terms of support, there's many digital nomad groups out there. Watch this space, as very soon I'm going to have an announcement on my website around a digital nomad community designed just for you watching this channel. So today we've covered choosing the right country for you, thinking about what could be a good teaching program, TEFL certification, and the life of a digital nomad. Thinking about these questions can really help you make the most of the experience of traveling, seeing the world, working, supporting yourself, and experiencing that freedom that comes along with this kind of life. If you feel you're ready to take the next steps towards that life of teaching English, or the digital nomad life, I'm here to support you in that journey. Please do head on over to book a call with me. I'll be so happy to talk to you about your objectives and journey towards your goals. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found some value in this video, I'd be so grateful to you if you could share it with others who you think might also get some value from it. Share it on your social media or whatever way makes most sense to you. If you're interested in more videos like this, please do hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, hit that bell notification icon down there. And please leave me a comment, because I respond to everybody's comment on this channel. Okay, that's it for this one. I'm going to land this plane. All that's left for me to say is thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and bye for now.